Hey, welcome back, YouTube family and friends. Hey, listen, look who's here, live, on the set, in the studio. Woman. She has done tastings. Last time we seen you was like maybe 2 months ago.
Right.
She just went on vacation. You came to eat food, taste what I made, and you've not done a video.
You didn't need me. This is Ask a Black Dad.
She said she needed a break.
Well, I'm back.
Ain't no break.
I'm back, baby.
It was like a strike. I had to negotiate to get her back on channel. So with that being said, let's jump into it. We got an important question. Let's start the show. So today, we're gonna tackle a question. My niece sent it to me. She's very wonderful singer and rapper. We'll put that at the end of the show. Nefertitti Avani. She sent us a question. She's a mother. I think her daughter's like what, 6 now? 6.
Maybe a little bit older.
Maybe a little 7. Maybe probably older. I don't know. You know, my uncle. My uncle who drinks the beer.
Always do the right thing.
That's it?
That's it.
I got it. I'm gone.
So with that being said, woman, she sent us a video. It's in TikTok. Not TikTok, Instagram. And I'm gonna try to find a way to put the link, because Instagram links are funny, and put it in the show notes below. But anyway, she sent us a link of a young woman, black woman speaking, and she sent this along with it.
Asking a Black Dad, as a mother who values education and a safe living environment for my child to grow up in, what's your opinion on this topic? Should I heed what this woman is saying?
Now, the woman was saying, she was talking about she's a black woman. She like maybe her late 20s. Mm-hmm. And you know, as I look in the camera, I'll tell you guys this, she seemed highly intelligent. She was complaining that you should not send your kids, especially minority kids, especially black kids, to places that are predominantly white.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is a good time to talk about it, because you have kids right now that are going on, deciding what college they should go to. My daughter and son just had babies, so we got 2 grandbabies in the house.
See, I told you I was busy.
And they are each plotting already the educational courses of their children. Mm-hmm. And they're listening to the advice that we give.
Right.
So we're gonna tackle that. The woman went on to say things about how she felt lost. She didn't feel black identity. How she felt that she was abused, mentally abused by the predominantly white culture she was in. Made her get lost in herself.
Yeah, I don't think she used the word mentally abused.
But if you get lost, if somebody calls you, get lost.
I don't think that's mentally abused though, because what she did, she shared her experience of attending a PWI, predominantly white institution. She went to school. And so she explained in the video that her parents wanted a better education for her. So they sent her to a predominantly white institution. A PWI is what, I think that's the term that they call it. And so she was sharing her experience, that's how she felt that it really impacted her in a negative way, because she felt she lost her identity.
Identity, and she recommended people don't do that.
Right, and that was based upon her own experience.
Right. Well, first, I think before we can go to her, and she was...
What the hell is that?
young. She was young. Like I say, she was 20s. I hope that she understands how we got here.
Right.
Because remember, at one point in time, she's talking about being black and going to a predominantly white school. At one point, we weren't allowed to even read. Reading was punishable by death. That was punishable by death. You know what I'm saying? If they knew you could read, that was your butt. You were gonna get in trouble. Then all of a sudden they said, well, we gotta educate. After there was no slavery, blacks started forming schools, and then some of the states were like, okay, we're gonna help y'all get educated. But they were teaching them to be maids, cooks. Ain't nothing wrong with being a maid, ain't nothing wrong, but that's all they was teaching. So you had a kid who had the capabilities of being a doctor, an engineer. He was being told he can't be nothing but work at the farm, work on Mr. Jones's land, working Mrs. Smith's kitchen and all that kind of things. So the school systems were totally tore apart. That means that the white students were being taught how to be doctors, lawyers, entrepreneurs, and all that, and blacks were being taught how to be the service help. So all we understood that, and that's how it worked. Now we get the civil rights coming in, then all of a sudden they said, we want our kids educated the same way. By the same way, that didn't mean don't teach them they're not black. That meant teach them the science, the math, the reading and writing, you know what I'm saying? So they can articulate their points of views, so they can follow their dreams and their hopes and their fantasies that they want to do, you know what I'm saying? And don't make them be the servant class.
Right. But I would tell you too, I think, because we didn't make our decision based upon, for our children, we have 5 children. And when we were looking for a better school system, when our kids were currently in, basically we did our homework. We have here, it was like a magazine. It was a city magazine called Cleveland Magazine, and they had Rating the Suburbs. Now our kids went to a public school, and so they went to a really good public school, but when it's time for our twins to go to school, they weren't able to get in. And education is so important, in regards to creating that foundation, strengthening that foundation for our children. And it just so happened that the school system that we were able to afford that had a better education, it just happened to be a predominantly white suburb. Not that we're looking for a suburb, we were looking for a better education, public education for our children. It'd be quite expensive.
Yeah.
So one of the things I wanted to mention is because she faulted, and the reason why I mention that is because she faulted her parents
for wanting to give her a better education.
Right.
How dare you?
But then also too, she also said, well, they could have sent me to tutors money,
or private school
money. And those are the things that I share, because not only is our niece, but other parents, young parents are at the point of making these decisions in regards to focusing on education and things of that nature. And one thing I always want to share is that you have to take a look at what you can afford when it comes to education. Education just doesn't stop and start and stop when a person goes to school. That's the reason why I really wanted to interject and offer that information as well.
Like I said, when we went to our kids, now I didn't know she was gonna keep spitting them out, but anyway.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
We went to a public school, and I went to public school, but I'm sorry, our kids went to public school, and we had to find the best school that was teaching
school system,
like a magnet school, an enrichment class. They were teaching that for the 2 girls. Now the problem was the school filled up so fast that when the boys came along, they were like, we can't take them. Mm-hmm. And now we got to think, we can't afford to put every kid in a private school.
Right.
And still live, you know what I'm saying? And still live the way we need to live. So we can't afford to pay the tutors because tutors cost. We've done tutors, for music, and they cost. So tutors, you can't afford it. It isn't in the budget. But what we did was, instead of investing in the brand new Cadillac, or the brand new Mercedes or whatever, we invested in our children. And how we did that was we moved them to a neighborhood. And I always say we moved to a neighborhood where they can walk down the street and go get some ice cream. And it just so happens that most of the neighborhoods where you can walk down the street and get some ice cream have good school systems. They really, the school systems follow the neighborhoods. So what that means is that if you have a good school system, usually that neighborhood is very nice. You don't worry too much about gang violence and unwanted crime. That's just kind of the way that works. And I'm sorry to say that. That's the way it is. So the young girl was saying that her parents should have did. I don't know if she didn't say if she had any other siblings or whatever, but maybe the parents couldn't afford a private school. So they said, I'm going to move and I can afford a house. And with this house and that good school system, you're going to be raised where you got lawn, you got a nice backyard, you can go barbecue. Now, does it come with some of the consequences that hey, you get called a porch monkey and all that kind of stuff? Sometimes it does, But that's your parents have to go ahead and put some boundaries in you. They have to pump up that backbone and let you know how special you are. Let you know how righteous you can be, how smart you can be, how intelligent. What did she say?
You is kind, you is smart, you is important.
So that's up to your parents to build you up.
Right. But I commend your parents, because the simple fact of the matter is that I would like to believe, speaking from experience, that your parents probably weighed those things in regards to private school or tutors and things of that nature.
Or just send you, or
Right.
just let you go to public school.
Right. And then also too, keeping in mind what you said was your parents wanted to provide you with a better education. It may not have been the best education, but a better education. And education is not just what comes in the book, right? Education comes in regards to life experience as a whole. Because guess what? When you are a Black person and you come out of that community that may be predominantly Black, when you come out of that community and you go out into the world is not predominantly Black. So the school system and the education provides you with that education too. That does not mean acceptance of those names, possible names, because we assume. I'm sorry, but I was talking to you.
Yeah, okay.
But I mean, this is a conversation, right? So, and I say that and I offer that because maybe one day you'll become a parent too, and hopefully that offers another perspective for you to understand how decisions are made. And also too is like, I appreciate our niece submitting this question because she and her husband are on the verge of making those decisions too. And I just think it's important for us to share. But I'm glad that the young lady was able to share her perspective based upon her experience, because not everybody's experience is one and the same.
And because you may have had, she mentioned Candace Owens. Let me say something real quick about Candace Owens. Candace Owens used Black people to get where she was at, where she's at now. Mm-hmm. She used NAACP to sue. She didn't go to a predominantly white school. Her parents gave her the best opportunity, the best education, and she got it. And then she became what I call like a race hustler or a race pimp. She uses a racial situation to make money. But she uses hers in a different kind of format than other people may use theirs to say, I'm fighting for Black empowerment and all that. She fights to denigrate Black people. She's Uncle Ruckus type. You know what I'm saying?
People say the key to fixing the problems of Negroes is education. But I say education is not the answer. Why bother? And what do niggas do in college anyway? Oh, they go there. They party, get drunk for 4-5 years, and end up just as ignorant as when they came in.
She does that. But there's another, like Dr. Umar. Dr. Umar will tell you every reason why you shouldn't vote for a Black woman, how Black men, and he ain't doing nothing but making money off of it.
And most of all, believe in that federal green. Because money walks and bullshit talks.
So there are people who push a narrative to just get their pockets lined.
Mm-hmm. For those who know Omarosa, Omarosa, a Black woman, and look her up, but she also played on a role in Donald Trump's show. I forgot. Oh, The Apprentice, right? But for me, those are characters, and we look it up and you find more about her. But each person that we named here is products of their environment and their experience, and some of them use those positions to capitalize on. So yes, the young lady did use Candace Owens.
And Candace Owens is an example of somebody who got the best education she can get. And all she did was say, I'm going to make the most money I can get. I ain't mad if you're going to try, but I'm pissed because her money-making scheme is to denigrate Black people. What Dr. Omar's money-making scheme is to tell Black people how terrible they are and they shouldn't support other Black people and all this kind of stuff, and they shouldn't even vote. All they're doing is pimping the system. They're race hustlers.
Right, but going back to this young lady too, is that, one of the things when you shared that video with me, when Neff sent it to you, I shared it with our kids, because guess what? Our children, went to predominantly white institutions, not only in elementary and middle school and high school, but also to college too. And so I was curious of what their feelings were. So I don't know, excuse me. So I shared that video with them just to get their perspectives too. You know, my boys have his humor, so they were like, nah. And so why I asked them, what do you think it shaped some of her perspective and her experience? And they felt maybe what she felt was insecurities. You know, maybe even as a young adult, because she, you know, it's hard for us to tell how old a person is.
I still look 25.
No, but you know, and so that was their thought. It was that possibly what she was speaking from was her insecurities, and maybe even as a teenager, what she projected was insecurities, and even as an adult, and that kind of shaped her experience too. You know, my daughter had said, one of my daughters had said, you know, she goes, I experienced some of these things in high school and in college, but you know, I think because our conversations in our household, like you were saying, the importance of
putting that backbone in them.
That's right, and having those conversations.
Every Black History Month, they had to celebrate.
Yeah,
they had to know Black history. Because see, the schools they went to, they made up 3% when they was in the suburb where we live at now. Where we stay at, they don't even stay, they moved on. 3%. When they went to college, they made up 7%. But they knew Black history. They celebrated Black history. They wrapped themselves around that, and they knew who they were. So nobody could come in and say, you know, hey, you this, and they made them go, oh, because you couldn't break them. You couldn't break them because we built them up. I don't know what happened to that girl. I do not understand what her parents did. But we know for a fact they taken, put it like this. I grew up in public school in predominantly Black city. And it was predominantly Black. I've been willing to have one white kid that was left in our elementary school. It was a culture shock when I went to 7th grade, because then it was a 40-60 split between Italians, most of them Italians, and the Blacks. And it was N-word, this, white. I was like, whoa, what the hell is this? But I would tell you this. A lot of times, this is me, and I went to the all-Black school, I was the blackest person. I was called Black it is. Black people, its colorism will show its ugly head amongst your own people.
He ain't lying.
So if you don't have a backbone strong enough to stand up, your own people can break you down. They'll tell you how Black you are. You know, you old Drake-looking muff, they'll tell you how light you are.
Oh, I love your doctor.
They'll tell you how big your lips is. You know what I'm saying? They will take your Black features, your Blackness, and they will turn it against you. So you can't just say, so when she says growing up in a Black, I need to be growing up. No. In some HBCUs, I don't want to knock the HBCUs. Some people come back from HBCUs and they're like, that wasn't it, baby.
Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned that, because that was my thought. You know, because she was in a predominantly white institution, she felt, and as you know, one of the kids had pointed out, is that possibly her insecurities. But my thought is, you may have felt the same insecurities or that same feeling if you went to a predominantly Black institution, because I always believe that God will always present His lessons to you, you know, for a reason. And not saying that she went. I'm not saying it's unfortunate that she feels the way she does or she experienced some of the things she did. But I think when you talk about the backbone, part of that is instilling your pride in within yourself, within your culture, and knowing who you are. And it's important to feed that into you. Now, if she went to a predominantly Black institution, what would her experience have been? I'm really not sure.
I ain't saying that. Pretty little girl, but someone was like, oh, you dark, because you was dark skinned. They'd be like, call her chalk.
I don't think she was dark skinned.
And then they told her,
your lips is this.
I mean, they try to break you down. Your Black.
I would tell you, because I
still got shocked from the way the Black people talk to me.
Honestly, he does, but I love it.
Like, dude, they talked to me crazy. They went in.
No, but he's beautiful.
So,
I love that color.
But
you know, but you mentioned about the full lips, because I lived on a different side of the city than Varno did, and so the reason why I say I'm pretty sure. Look, what's the email address for Ask a Black Dad?
VarnoHarris@askablackdad.com.
Point. So anyway, so what I was gonna say is that where I grew up at, it was, and originally it was more diverse, you know, but when I had my first job, it was predominantly white. And I was sharing with the kids that I said, you know, what I had come to learn, because I'm more of a talker than anything, is that sometimes what we experience when we come across or start more of being in the same space for those who aren't in a diverse neighborhood or predominantly white, is the lack of engagement and encounter and experience with other races, and it's not intentional for them to be offensive. But it's an opportunity to have that conversation, because sometimes they just don't know.
Nowadays, I'm gonna say, when they're younger, it is a learning.
I'm talking about back when we were younger.
But like I said, right now.
But I'm much younger than you.
I talked to a friend of mine. He's a doctor in education, so he's doctor. And he said that he went to a public school. Me and him went to public school together. And when he went to college, he was not prepared for college. Mm-hmm. He went to college, and the college like, where the hell did you go to school at? And he had to go to extra classes to get prepared for college. So when her parents sent her to get that education, see, education can make up for a lot of stuff. Education can put you on the right track. I'm not gonna stay in no place that has a bad education and I can't get it back. You can't. I done spent 12 years, 13 if you count kindergarten. I done spent 13 years and I have nothing to show for it. You know what I'm saying? My education is below par. What does that do? Now all of a sudden that stops my growth. You know what I'm saying? My growth to expand my knowledge of the world, my growth to expand my money making ability. You know, hey, everybody like, get the paper, get the bag. Yeah. I can't get the bag now because I stopped right here. Yeah. I'm stuck. So I'm gonna follow. You don't have to follow the money, but follow that education, because the education, first of all, they never can take it from you, and you can do so much with it. You can pivot to so many different places when you got an education.
And let me give it as a perfect example that you gave in regards to your friend. In his experience, because when our girls are older than our boys, and our boys had not started school yet. They were just going to kindergarten.
What ain't older, Michael?
Well, our twin boys, I'll be specific, are younger than our girls. And so they were already in the school system. So they were coded, where we lived at in the city, they were coded as gifted and talented, right? And so they were already in that track, in regards to their education, right?
The city schools.
Right, the city school system. School. So when we transferred to the suburbs, I explained to them, I said, and I believe it was one of the girls were coded as gifted and talented. That's what they called it in the city. So it was like a different group, in regards to education. That means like a higher education, I'll put it that way. So I don't know the way to put that, sorry. So when we transferred to the suburbs,
a higher learning track. That's
there you go, a higher learning track, like enrichment.
We're gonna throw a lot more stuff at them.
Right.
They can handle it.
Right. And so when we went to go have the boys tested, when we went to have the boys tested for kindergarten, because they started the kindergarten readiness test. I felt like I didn't prepare them as much as I did with the girls. Before they went to kindergarten, I love teaching and reading and when doing all that, but because of work and promotions, I wasn't able. Boys. No, because I didn't have as much time as I did like with the boys that I had with the girls. So anyway, when they did the kindergarten readiness test, my fear was they weren't going to do as well. Well, they did, and so the principal came out, and the principal is the one who told us, take your boys and run. And that was the words of this Black principal, take your boys and run, because we cannot maintain the level of education that they already have, because we have all these other issues that and so she said, take your boys and run if you can. And that when she came out, she told us that, we did. So let me fast forward. So now that we were transferring over to the new system, right, in the suburbs, I explained to the guidance counselor that our girls were coded as gifted and talented. And so what program do you have in this school system that is the equivalent of that? So when I mentioned it to her and she saw what school system they were coming from, she was like, oh, that's not comparable. So because they maybe coded there, they may not make it in this program here. I like a challenge. And so they had a testing for that. So they took a test. Actually, one of them took the test because only one was coded. And so they took the test. And so I said, go ahead, test her. She missed it by 1 point. She missed it by 1 point. And so what I did was, as being an advocate for our children, which all parents should be, I said, put her in a class anyway. You don't even have to worry because she's going to excel. And she did. The point that I'm making is that just like you just talked about that with your friend, how he went through 13 years of schooling, right? And it did not prepare him for college.
He thought he was prepared.
Right.
They told him he was prepared.
Right.
You are prepared.
And I would like to believe because of us making the decision to put our children in a better school system, it better prepared them for the colleges that they went to. Matter of fact, I really believe that it helped them get into the college that they got into.
But also you have to invest in that child. That means we took them to the library. You read to them. You made sure they do their work. And then the key part that she's talking about is the blackness. Your kids should not come home if you're black, Hispanic, German, Italian, or whatever, and not know their history. They're trying to take our history from us. But if you allow them to take their history out of the libraries, and then you just automatically don't put it in your home, that's your fault. That is your fault. My kids knew when they came home, I'm dealing with a black family. This is the struggles that we've been through. And so they always knew there was a stepping stone for them to do better than I did.
Now, I will give you the credit to that because, as you can tell, he's our historian, but that was always important. Matter of fact, our daughter, we call her Hollywood Harris.
Hollywood
Jada. And you may have seen it every year for Black History Month. She, on her Instagram page, which I'm pretty sure is probably connected to the page, she's our executive producer. She does a Black History post every day for Black History Month. And I think I would say that's a result of her dad constantly pouring into her the importance, and she has carried that on. But I also want to say something too, because not everybody is able to make the type of financial decision that we made to go to the suburbs, However, I would like to say,
we ran.
Just like people travel from the south to the north to get a better life, we traveled further west to get a better education for our children. But I say that, but going to your point, because not everybody's able to do that. But I just really want to emphasize, it is so important to be an advocate for your children and invest in them in regards to their education. Education at home, because like you said, it doesn't start and it doesn't end in school, but it starts in the home. And it's so important. And you're right, and I know that sometimes too, and I'm not sure if this young lady, if it was a 2-parent household or 1-parent household, regardless, I understand that sometimes too, when you make those financial decisions, sometimes you are working multiple jobs to be able to support that. But you got to find the time. I don't care if it's in the wee hours of the morning or in the middle of the night, is to be able to have those that take that time with your children, because you are pouring into them as they go out into this world.
And I want to say this, people who keep me, I can't say we run. We were involved in the city before we moved. We were involved in the schools. Mm-hmm. We were with the what's her name? The educator, I ain't gonna say her name, but the person head of the school systems, the superintendent. We voted. You do everything. PTA. You do everything to take the kid to the library. You make sure you go to the dollar store and get them mathematic books so they can learn the math. You get them books. You put them on the computer. Don't put them on the computer to watch TikTok. Put them on the computer to watch them things and tell them why ice melts and how ice freezes and what happens when water expands. You have to do all that kind of thing. So if you can't run, see, because sometimes all of us can't be. I can't be Obama. I can't be Kamala Harris. I can't be LeBron James. But I can be the best damn Barnum Harris I can be. And I can make sure I put my kids in the, I may not be able to put them on the Lakers, but I'm gonna put them in a position where they can get a job, where they can make money and they can get a house, and I'm gonna do everything I can to be that way. But at the same time, I'm still teaching them that they are black, they are beautiful, and they should be proud of that. The minute you lose any sight of that, they're black, they're beautiful, they're intelligent, and all that. When you lose sight of that, and you start allowing other people to, nobody can come into my kids' center of realm of existence and penetrate it and tell them how terrible they are, except for somebody they fall in love with, sleep in the bed with. They might do that, but
they won't believe it.
Yeah, I don't know. You never know. My oldest two sons, my boys believe anything girl tell them. I love you. Oh, baby.
That is not true.
Oh, baby. You know what I'm saying? I don't know the girls might too, but I know all my boys. If a girl like, hey, baby, hey, she said, so I don't know. But I'm just saying, I'm serious. You put a bubble around them that fills them with everything they need. And that's all you can do. Yeah. And I feel bad that the girl had that experience, whatever experience she had. But hanging around a whole group of black people is not going to guarantee you success. To run around and say that you don't need a better education, don't chase a better education. You chase that education, because that education can pay off for itself. Just to be around, excuse my French, just be around black people. What is, okay. Being around black, ask dudes in jail, gangster disciples and Crips and Blood. Right. They were around black people, hang around black people. Right. What they got them?
But I want to also just not to forget this, that too is better education doesn't mean all white people either. No. You can have a better education around predominantly black people, our diverse group and things of that nature. It just so happened that with this young lady, she was in a predominantly white institution. That was the best opportunity our children was in a predominantly white institution. Trust me, I'm pretty sure that in different communities, that better education is probably in a all black neighborhood.
No, I'm gonna say this. In America, we know how taxes work.
What I'm saying, but what I'm saying to you too is that I'm gonna use Atlanta. I'm pretty sure some of their areas with better education,
money again.
Okay, but
money.
Okay, but what I'm saying,
afford it.
That's a great point. But what I'm saying to you is that I don't want anyone to believe that better education equals all white people. Better education sometimes too, and you're right. When you do your research on it, it's where sometimes it's unfortunate. It's where the money is at. To be honest with you, so that's the reason why I really want to make the point that better education does not equal predominantly white institution or a predominantly white community. That can also be in a predominantly black, Mexican. It doesn't make Hispanic, whatever it may be.
But as a black dad's gonna tell you the truth. In America,
are you saying that I'm not?
No, what I'm saying is we're gonna break it down history. In America, predominantly white schools are given the funds. That's just the way it is. They're given the funds. They're given the push. Now you got and then what they do is they'll put it like this. Project 2025 says if you go to a private school and when you graduate high school out of private school, Project 25 gets put in, you get to go on to college. You don't have to register for the draft. But if you're in a public school, you got to register for the draft. Why is that? Money talk, everything else walks. Money is going to, and you sometimes, and America is a capitalistic system, and that's how it's working. You follow the money. And that's where it is. And I hate to say it is like that. That's why you have to do your homework and constantly build into your children. If you can't afford to get in an area that does this, you have to set your kids up and let them know. I taught my kids a long time, you got to learn to bleed. When I say bleed, that means you got to work extra hard. You got to go ahead and do 5 book reports. You got to constantly be reading. You got to constantly when it's time to go to college, these young kids are going to get ready to go to college. They're going to start picking their colleges. Don't be afraid to step out your comfort zone. That's the problem. I only see this. But if you step out your comfort zone, your eyes will open so wide and the world will become so much bigger than you. Right. So don't be afraid to open up and go out. And don't listen to people because they may have had a negative experience and you don't know what caused their negative experience, but they want to put that. You ever heard somebody who, I'm gonna transfer all my negative energy onto you?
Yes.
To me, I love that the young lady put that video out, but she had negative energy. She wanted to transfer her negative stuff to other people. And actually her words was, don't chase a higher education.
Right.
I don't know who she talking to.
I would say, Varno, but people speak from their experience. And I just take it as she had a negative experience and she was sharing her negative experience.
Yeah, but she was talking, don't chase a higher education.
Right, but people don't understand the weight of their words sometimes too. And she could have been speaking, she could have been in her feelings that day, but however, she did. But I think it's always important to share another perspective. But when you talk about willing to bleed, I will tell you, and I've told many people, I have no idea how we did it financially. When we talk willing to bleed, there was things that we could not do that other people did. There was no keeping up with the Joneses here. It was keeping up with the Harris's bills.
I'm broke, nigga, I'm broke.
My daughter swore that they only made bologna for us. She swore that we only made bologna for us.
But they never starved. So we couldn't afford a lot of the things that other people were doing, but we were. But however, we honestly looked at it as an investment of our children's education. Matter of fact, when we chose this house, we said this is the children's house because we only moved here and we only chose this house for the betterment of our children, to be honest with you.
And now all the grandkids, and now there's a bunch of toys again.
Right.
We're starting all over.
But I'll say this to anyone, is that I will tell you, we were not rich by far. It's just that simple fact of the matter is we have a strong faith in God, and honestly, and we were willing to bleed. And then also to, even with those making those concessions, we made sure we shared that with our children, because guess what? Those are their life lessons as well, especially as they start their families too.
So we're not gonna keep you guys. We had you long enough. Listen, Mom, you got any closing comments for anybody, for the girl, or for anybody who listened to her? I'm gonna try to put that link in.
Mm-hmm.
Again, when you have Instagram, some of the links they don't let you copy their links. So
right.
You know what I'm saying. So we can't do it. To Neff, you got any comments to Neff or to the girl?
Yeah.
Neff want to know, what should she do?
Yeah.
What should you think she should do?
I just want to thank Neff for submitting the question, but also
T-shirt coming your way, Neff.
But I also want to thank you and your husband for being conscientious of that and sharing that question with us, because we know these are big decisions. Some people think these are small decisions. Some people don't think that this is like even a point. But the fact of the matter is as parents, we have a tremendous responsibility to make sure that we make the best decisions. It's not going to always be the right decisions, because who knows right or wrong, the best decisions for our children. So we commend you, in regards to that. But for the young lady who posted her on Instagram, she shared that on Instagram. I appreciate the fact that you shared that out there, but I also welcome you. Hopefully you see our video and it offered a different perspective as it relates to your parents' decisions. And this is how, honestly, how parents make decisions, the best that they possibly can with what they have. And I'm gonna say to you, your experiences are your own. And I always promote mental health. It seemed like, as one of my kids have pointed out, it was your insecurities. And I always want to say to you is that it's nothing wrong with talking to a mental health professional to help you work through those feelings. So then that way, as you become a mom or you talk to other people, maybe even your next video, you can share that experience too.
To the girl who made the video, real quick, I'm gonna say this. I will put my arms around you and say, here's the best psychiatrist I can find. Because there's a lot of personal things you throw out. Be careful of putting I've had negative experiences in my life, throughout my life, with black people, white, and I try not to paint it on everybody and say, hey, do it this way, because it can't. To my niece, Neff, love you. Give that baby the best education you can give her. If that means moving to a place where you can afford to give her to a school system, or if you can afford to send her to private school, whatever, do that. Because that education opens doors. Trust me. Don't be like some of these people nowadays in America. I don't need no scientists. No. Education opens doors. Open doors, education opens your eyes. Opens your eyes, allows you. Never, you're creative. You're a rapper and a singer. We're gonna put a link to her Instagram and her stuff in about. She's been with Snoop and all of them, and some wonderful songs. But we can't play the song on YouTube. But you see how creativity can take you places. Create with your creativity, and you pumping into her and giving her an education that opens her eyes. There's no stopping her where she can go. But you got to put that into her, let her know how wonderful she is, how beautiful she is, how great she can be. You got to put that in her. Now, with that being said, now if we do have a t-shirt, we're going to put in some information in there before we go. What day is it that we're going to do our Spooktacular live?
I believe it's Saturday, October 28th. Saturday, October 28th.
October 28th.
Now, if 28th is not that Saturday, whatever that Saturday date is.
I'm just looking up on your phone real quick. October.
I'm pretty sure that I got that right.
But we're going to do our Spooktacular. We do it this will be the second time we're going live.
Actually, it's October 26th. See, that's Saturday.
So
26. That last Saturday of October.
Last Saturday, October 26th, we're going live. We're going to be live. Last year we gave away $175 worth of cash to different people. We gave away free merch. We got some merch already set up. We're still debating about what the cash is going to be. But anyway, we're going to give away stuff. We're giving away stuff. We gave away last time. It's going to be at 2 o'clock on the 26th of October, our Spooktacular. With that being said, sorry we kept you so long. Believe in your children. I don't care what they're black, white, green, brown, yellow. Believe in your children.
And
give
believe
them the best
and believe in yourself.
Education they can get. Promote that. And with that being said, until we catch you again, the next time you'll see us, we will be live. I don't know what I'm dressing up as. I'm dressing up as a black man. You gonna dress up as a black man too? Until we see you again, woman.
Oh, I'm out of practice. We love you.
That was terrible. Terrible. We can go back on strike.
No problem.
Jeez.